Thank you very much for having me. My name is Enebi Opawula. I work with BudgIT Foundation, Nigeria. So I'll quickly go straight to what we're discussing about, which is fossil fuel phase out. I'll first start with a bit of context. Yes, Nigeria has quite a couple of decades under its belt when it comes to crude oil production. So we are not new compared to countries in East Africa or perhaps our neighbors in West Africa. But Nigeria has a lot of decades of crude oil production, gas production, and so we with that also comes the baggage that comes along with extraction. Nigeria is also a mining country, although mining contributes very tiny to our GDP, less than 1%. Our major foreign source of foreign exchange is sales of crude oil. And crude oil accounts for a large share of our exports. However, in terms of contribution to the GDP, the oil and gas sector contributes quite little, less than 7% to our GDP, which is a dilemma that we have in Nigeria. For Nigeria, when it comes to fossil fuel phase out, it's at least within the context of the energy transition, it's more of economic survival than environmental sustainability, at least for our context. Someone said here earlier that Africa contributes very little, less than 4% to global emissions. So whether or not we phase out, we probably will not shift the needle in terms of 1.5 degrees centigrade. However, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't prepare. And that is why I say for Nigeria, which I think is true for a lot of African countries and developing countries as well, is more of an economic survival issue than environmental sustainability. So when our colleagues in advanced economies stop using the products we sell in terms of petroleum products or fossil fuels, and then our economies are under threat. And so that is the dilemma, the issue for the Nigerian economy. And as such, our government seems to be trying to tool the direction of both trying to prepare or decarbonize while trying to maximize its resources in oil and gas, in the oil and gas sector. And this is not just unique to Nigeria. Everyone who has reserves right now knows that there's a ticking clock on it. And in a couple of decades, those reserves might be useless, or at least will be less relevant to your economy or to your people. And so there is this gain or this desire to maximize those benefits. Countries like like Norway is doing that. The United States is also doing the same thing, where they've ramped up production of crude oil. They have opened new fields. Some countries in Europe are doing the same thing. So Nigeria are trying to maximize its resources while also preparing to decarbonize is something that it's trying to prepare for an economy that will be where fossil fuels will be less relevant, but however, trying to maximize benefits in the immediate term. And that presents a challenge. In order to do that, you need a lot of money, which the country doesn't have. And so it has to seek for investors across the world who would be interested in investing in its own resources. And however, those investors are also constrained due to climate targets. So for Nigeria, it's more of an economic issue than it is an environmental sustainability issue. In as much as we contribute to decarbonization globally, there is economic survival and energy security as well. Every country prioritizes their energy security, and so does Nigeria. When the Russia-Ukraine crisis started, we observed how European countries had to fall back to sources of energy that could give them the energy they needed, and then adjusted later on. So an energy security issue might supersede certain concerns, at least for now. Perhaps in the future, the tables, the how that put now, the balance might change, where irrespective of whatever happens, climate change will take the center stage. So that's a little bit of context uh, about Nigeria's fossil fuel phase out plans, its decarbonization plans, and so that influence the kind of work we do in Nigeria. So Nigeria is going to be one of the first African countries to produce a transition plan, and as such, uh, one of what we did is that we looked into it. Perhaps now is a good time for me to mention that in Budget Foundation, one of the things or one of our major priorities is empowering citizens. All right, what we do this by uh, breaking down information and making it available in formats that are easily comprehensible by an average Nigerian or an average person. So we do this through several methods, through research, analysis, infographics, creative communication campaigns, uh, town halls, various strategies that we use to ensure that the citizen is informed. Now, we believe that when people are informed, they now have the capacity to demand accountability. So we are trying to increase demand side awareness and demand for accountability from public officials. That is one of what we do. Another thing we do is support agencies by providing or simplifying data analysis and making that connection between the public institution and the governed and the governors in quote, making that connection a bit more productive, where there's a feedback mechanism that we can contribute to ensure that development is much more contextual and suits the people that need it the most in whatever needs they require. So that informs budget engagement with energy transition and decarbonization in Nigeria. We do understand that the government has to decarbonize, and so we've tried to engage the government to see how we can shape that conversation a lot more better. We have a gas expansion plan ongoing in Nigeria right now, where we are trying to scale up local consumption of gas and even local production of gas. But however, we have decarbonization targets from 2030 to 2060. And the question is, how do you achieve both? How do you achieve both at the same time, given the fact that you have a challenge of finance affecting that both policies would need, both interventions, both targets would need. So where do you prioritize? Do you take revenue that you have and put it in fossil fuel decarbonization phase out, or do you take the revenue you have and or the resources you have and put it in a gas expansion? Those are challenges that we are trying to we are engaging with, that we are encouraging the government to be much more clearer and be much more pragmatic about its goals.